And welcome to The Factor Uncensored. Thank you for joining us tonight. Now, the suspect in the shooting in San Jacinto County is still on the run. Investigators are still looking for that person. Prayers to the families who have been affected by this. Meanwhile, Governor Greg Abbott is walking back his insensitive comments about the victims of a mass shooting in Cleveland, Texas. Now, he faced a lot of backlash over the weekend. He tweeted with his hands, we assume, that he was offering a $50,000 reward to find the suspect for killing five illegal immigrants, when one of the victims was actually a U.S. citizen. His office has since sent out a statement retracting the governor's original comments, writing, quote, "The true focus remains on catching this heinous criminal who killed 5 innocent people and bringing the full weight of Texas law against him." Joining me now tonight here on The Factor Uncensored to weigh in, the CEO of Regal Media, Todd Smith, and attorney, former Judge Charles Adams. First of all, Charles, your thoughts on what the governor did. Was this a gaffe, or was he trying to make it political? Did he not think? And where was his staff if he did not think?
Yeah, I think that Governor Abbott never misses an opportunity to polarize the state of Texas for political gain. I think he was trying to make it clear that these victims weren't citizens of Texas, so somehow not worthy of the same empathy. It wasn't germane to the story. The real story is why this guy was still in this country, why the San Jacinto County Sheriff's Department that had responded several times to that house and discovered him. He was shooting a gun. There were prior calls for him shooting a gun. Well, it wasn't legal for him to have a gun. It wasn't legal for him to be in the country. So he should have been arrested a long time ago. This should never have happened. That's the real story.
Deported.
Right, and every time, if you get deported, it's very hard. Like, you have to commit crimes and be an awful person to get deported nowadays. But if you come back into the country, it's a very serious federal felony, right? And he did it multiple times. So when the San Jacinto County Sheriff's Department came out to the house for the prior noise disturbances gunshots, well, why didn't they run him? Why isn't there any communication between local law enforcement and the federal government for people subject to a deportation order? Why are criminals allowed to come to this country and stay? Because we know most illegal immigrants aren't criminals, right? And you say illegal because they did enter illegally, right? But immigrants generally are far more law-abiding than regular citizens. It does seem odd that that house was filled with a lot of people that weren't related. It could have been a house used for trafficking or movement of people, but none of that is germane to the fact that you had mothers lying on top of their children being shot to death by this monster. San Jacinto County failed us by not getting him arrested earlier. The ICE failed us by not having good communication between local law enforcement. And our governor failed us by saying horribly disgusting things to make this exacerbate. It's disgusting, just disgusting.
Is he always trying to outdo Florida's governor?
I was thinking that coming in. He's really rivaling Ron DeSantis and saying polarizing things, getting his base riled up. The culture wars, we know that that's very controversial and it gets people riled up. But if you're the governor, if you're any leader, you're not just the governor or the leader of the people that voted for you. You're the leader of the entire state, the entire city, the entire country. So he needs to stop politicizing everything. Where's the humanity? I'm tired of politicians who are supposed to be leaders. They're supposed to be the example. When somebody dies, you're looking to score political points. This is not the time. I was on the show a while ago, and it wasn't as serious a topic, but I said timing is everything. This is not the time to do that. Me and Charles talked about it before we got here. If he had mentioned just the illegal status of the perpetrator, alleged perpetrator, nobody would have cared. But to bring that into the discussion about the victims, it doesn't matter. 5 people lost their lives. That's all we should care about. Let's find this person, get him off the streets. But he has to score political points and get people divided. It's a shame.
And Charles, how do you get that tone deaf if you are the governor of a state?
Well, we had Governor Abbott talk about Jade Helm. Governor Abbott has a long history of pandering to corporate interests when he was on the Texas Supreme Court, when in every job that he's had with the government, right? He is bought and paid for, and he's trying to hold on to his power by pandering to the extremist base of the Republican Party. But let's not forget, it's not just the conservatives.
No, really quick,
right?
Would the base be even bothered by what he said?
It depends. I mean, I think moderate Republicans and moderate Texans generally that find themselves voting for him as a lesser of two evils situation. I think every human being that is normal would be horrified by the way he talked about these victims. However, do I think his extremist base cares? No, they probably stopped caring when they saw the victims weren't weren't U.S. citizens, right? And it's horrifying. But on the flip side, you have the left also politicizing it, and to pretend they're not is dishonest. They are immediately calling as, well, this is another example why we need to strip Americans of their Second Amendment rights. Let's be very clear. It was illegal for this man to be in the country. It was illegal for him to own a gun, and he had interacted with law enforcement an incredible number of times. And they didn't arrest him, and they didn't take his guns away from him, and they didn't charge him. What we don't need is new laws preventing law-abiding citizens from having weapons. What we need is to enforce the laws on the books and have, Mayorkas under Biden has absolutely denied communication between local police and INS or the ICE services. We need to have a government that works for us. We need to have an easier immigration policy for poor people so poor people can legally migrate. But we have to have a controlled border. But none of this matters. What matters right now is why he wasn't arrested earlier, why law enforcement not only failed that family but is continuing to fail America, and what we can as American citizens demand from our government without having to sacrifice more of our rights.
But do you think the pandering is always equal? I think in this case it's egregious on both sides, but sometimes the gun argument is relevant to some of the shootings when there are big weapons. And I support the Second Amendment. I'm not as knowledgeable about the gun situation as you are, but sometimes calling the issues into account matter. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't know. We always have this rush, and every time there's a mass shooting, to talk about why we need to take away gun rights from citizens. I think we should have universal background checks. I think we should have red flag laws with due process. I think we should have a police department that actually does something before people do horrible things, right? I mean, Matt Seedorf had a wonderful special tonight of a whole block of Houston cars being broken into, windows smashed. Not one person called the police. Why? Because when you call the non-emergency number, you spend 20, 30 minutes on hold. You don't get a response. And when I read that San Jacinto County had been out, had interacted with this man, who it was illegal for him to have a gun while he was shooting his gun, and did nothing, it said to me that this failure was the government's failure. And American citizens and immigrants to this country should expect our government to enforce laws.
It would have saved lives.
Right, it would have saved lives. And all we talk about when we have these problems is why, well, let's put more laws on the books and strip more citizens of their rights. It was illegal for him to have a gun. He already had a gun. When you look at states like Illinois that have unbelievable laws that prevent people from protecting themselves, it doesn't do any good. We need to enforce the law.
We want to thank you for joining us here on The Factor Uncensored tonight. Still